This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
Great news, America. Good news on this Friday morning. All that destruction you have witnessed for the last 4 days in California, all that carnage, all those destroyed homes, you are paying for it. Yes, you will pick up the tab for the corruption, the negligence, the incompetence of Los Angeles, of California officials, of the governor, of the mayor, of the fire chief, all their nonsense that we've talked about for the last 3 days. It's on you. Yes. Joe Biden announces that the U.S. government, the federal government, will cover 100% of the cost of measures to protect lives and property. For the first 6 months, for the first 180 days, American taxpayers will pay for the fire management and debris removal. Gee, why didn't they think of that a week ago? Debris removal and fire management. This is amazing when you think about it. You say you're in a red state. I'm not, but maybe you are. And your governor, your mayor, your public officials, your fire chief did the right thing, prepared for things like this. Doesn't matter. Gavin Newsom, Karen Bass, these utterly incompetent criminals. That's what they are. They're criminals. We should have tribunals for these people. They shouldn't just be fired. They shouldn't be recalled. They should be arrested. We are talking about unfathomable damage and unfathomable costs. I saw one estimate this morning that there was $150 billion of damage so far. 150 billion. There, I got the latest here. It is fires are still burning out of control in greater Los Angeles. This is from NBC. Fires have killed 10 people now. The death toll is up to 10. And 180,000 people have been removed from their homes. The Palisades fire, the big one, burned through 19,900 acres. That is a much bigger area than the island of Manhattan, is now burned to rubble. 5,000 structures in one fire were destroyed. As of last night, it was 6% contained. This is the height of incompetence, and we all know why. We've talked about it. To save the smelt, to diversify the fire department, to placate radical environmentalists. That's what happened here. I hear people say a natural disaster. I'm sorry. No more of that. This was not a natural disaster. This was preventable. It was foreseeable. And now we know more every day. We'll get to it. There is just they're just a staggering amount of evidence that these people are not just incompetent, not just negligent. They are insane. They did this. This happened because Gavin Newsom wanted to placate the tribal region. He wanted to save the smelt. They wanted to let nature take its course, and it did. And now thousands and thousands of people are homeless and have no hope. I love the idea that they're going to rebuild. Yeah, Karen Bass said it when she got back from Ghana. Los Angeles will rebuild. We're resilient. Sure, I'm sure you are. I'm sure all these people are resilient. Someone has to explain to me how this is going to work. When you look at that aerial photograph of Pacific Palisades, and it looks like Gaza, it is just rubble. How do you rebuild? I can't get my mind around it. The idea that you're going to rebuild. What do? You're in a hotel somewhere in, I don't know, San Bernardino. You're just sitting there. What do? You call the local construction company, say, can you come out and give me an estimate? You're one of tens of thousands of people who are doing that very thing. You call your insurance company. Oh, no, wait, I don't have insurance. This is staggering, and it hasn't gotten enough coverage. I am just blown away by this. The estimate is that 70% 70% of Pacific Palisades homeowners have no fire insurance. You know why? Because they were canceled. And you know why they were canceled? Because California public officials wouldn't let the insurance companies raise rates. So what did they do? They pulled out of Southern California. James Woods talked about this. He said none of his neighbors has fire insurance. And the average cost of a home in this community is more than $3 million. There are $8, $10, $15 million homes with no insurance. What happens now? You just have a mortgage, or even if you don't have a mortgage, you have a home worth $3 million and no insurance. Where do you go? I assume you start with the government and you hope for a check, and maybe you'll get more than the folks in Western North Carolina or in Maui. Maybe you'll get more than $750, but you're not getting $3 million. It's incredible. State Farm dropped more than 2,000 policies in 2 LA zip codes. That's not a huge area, including many of these communities. They just said it makes no sense. They were paying out more than they were collecting. They're a business. They couldn't do it, so they just left. They pulled out, and it's not just Pacific Palisades. It's the whole fire zone where people have no insurance. They're not going to rebuild, as Adam Carolla explains. And you know what? I was gonna withhold my this idea that you voted for this and just, I don't want to say gloat, but blame the victims. But we got to get to this. We got to get to this because Joe Biden said, you in a red state, you who state did all the right things, now has to pay for the people in California who did the wrong thing for the wrong reasons. But let's face it, it's a fact. They voted for this. They voted for Gavin Newsom. They voted against the recall. They voted for Karen Bass, who is a radical Marxist, who is just a left-wing extremist. They voted for the policies that led to this disaster. Now, they regret it, I'm sure, many of them, most of them, and maybe things will change. But this is the government they wanted. These are the people they wanted, and the people, and these are the people who made these decisions. This is what led to this. Karen Bass, Gavin Newsom, Kristen Crowley, all the city council. It's all Democrats, and not just Democrats, radical ideologues who do believe in saving the smelt and do believe in following the directions of the Sierra Club and other radical environmentalists. At what point does the rest of America say, we don't want to pay for your mistakes? We feel bad. You know, we're fine helping you get back on your feet. But $150 billion? Are we going to get to that point? 6 months, Joe Biden says, we're paying for everything. Do we think that's the end of it? I mean, do we think that that will even begin to help them rebuild? Of course not. It's a disaster area, and it is a man-made disaster. And at some point, I think the rest of America is going to agree with Adam Carolla. You voted for this. You brought this on. You caused this. You have to pay for this. You have to deal with it. It sounds cold and callous when they're still trying to put out the flames, still trying to find their dogs. But it's a reality. This is what they voted for. Listen to Adam Carolla, who was, by the way, displaced. He's sitting in a hotel room because he's a lifelong LA resident, and he's been living with these people and dealing with these disastrous decisions his whole life. Here he is with Megyn Kelly yesterday.
Gavin Newsom, got recalled essentially, and he still won. We had a choice between Rick Caruso, a sort of qualified, able-bodied businessman for mayor. We ended up with Karen Bass. Like, we sort of get what we deserve. And I do want to say to all the people in Malibu, very blue, Palisades, very blue, Santa Monica, very blue. You guys like all this. This is who you voted for these people. You're sitting around right now going, how come the fire hydrants don't work? Where's the mayor? Why is she out of the country? What's going on with the aqueducts? You voted for these people. This is who you voted for. You live in Santa Monica, you live in these places. This is how you roll. This is what you agree with. You think it's more important to have a woman of color versus a qualified person. You think it's more important to have a lesbian running the fire department than a qualified person. Well, you asked for it. You got it. Now your house is on fire.
You asked for it. You got it. At some point, we have to go from empathy, sympathy, compassion, concern to say, why did this happen? And we've gone over it. And I love this idea. Gavin Newsom said it yesterday. Lots of Democrats are saying it. Let's not politicize it. I'm sorry. It is not politicizing a man-made disaster to point out who caused it, who allowed it to happen, why it happened. That's not political. That's just getting to the truth. That's just finding out the reason this incredible, unprecedented disaster occurred in this community. It was not nature taking its course, and God knows it was not global warming. We know now that at least some of these fires were caused by arson. Arson is not global warming. Global warming does not cause arson. So just shut up, Democrats, with the global warming, climate change nonsense. Again, even if it is climate change, which it's not, they didn't prepare. They knew it was coming. Even if you think it was extreme weather caused by carbon emissions, you knew it was coming. You knew the Santa Ana winds were coming. You knew there were bums out there having campfires. You knew this was a real possibility, and you didn't prepare. You didn't clear the forest. You didn't fill the reservoirs. You didn't make sure you had enough water to put out fires. A basic function of local municipal government. Make sure you have water. Make sure you have water to put out fires. These people pay the highest taxes in the country. They pay, some of them pay 13% state tax on top of their federal tax. And their house is on fire and nobody shows up. No, there's no fire truck. There's no fireman. There's no one there to hook up the hoses and put out the fire. It is not negligence. It is not a natural disaster. It is utter incompetence and perhaps even criminal what's happened to these people. Here's the latest, by the way. They're finding arsonists. People are catching arsonists in their neighborhoods, and they're also catching looters. It's Los Angeles. Let's be honest. They don't prosecute crime. So looters are all over the place right now. There's one story that says gangs are setting fires because they want to get people to evacuate and rob them. That's what's happening right now in Los Angeles. Here's a report from News Nation.
Brian, this is a huge and very frustrating development.
Yeah, I mean, totally unexpected, Dan. Was not expecting to get that piece of information in the last couple of minutes. We were sort of wondering why there are so many police out here. Obviously, this is a fire scene, and we've been at fire scenes for the last couple of days, and it didn't really make a lot of sense that more and more LAPD were showing up. And then the crime scene unit also being out here. So we spoke to the lead officer in charge, who you saw there, and he was very open about it. He said that they believe the Kenneth fire, which is the latest fire to start here in LA, now at 900 acres, give or take, they believe that someone did intentionally set it, that this is now officially an arson investigation. He said this whole area behind me, the canyon behind me, they're calling now a crime scene, and that they have a person in custody, detained, who they are questioning. Apparently someone in the area may have seen something. Now someone is in custody. But when you think about what has gone on in LA over the last 3 days, and granted, keep in mind, this is just the latest fire. This doesn't mean the other fires that we've been covering were intentionally shot. We don't we don't know. But LAPD saying they believe this latest fire was arson, Dan.
They caught the guy with a blowtorch. He was carrying a blowtorch. Yes. I don't know his name. I think it was Climate Change. Yes. Mr. Climate Change caught with a blowtorch. If you don't think the situation was infuriating enough at this point, we've discussed the fire department and what they've done. Their top priority, the Los Angeles Fire Department's top priority, according to Kristen Crowley, their lesbian fire chief, is diversity, making sure they have enough people of color and LGBTQ firefighters. That's important. You know, when your house is burning down, you want someone there who is diverse. It's absurd. It's insane. But they don't even pretend that their priority is fighting fires, protecting taxpayers, protecting their community. They don't even pretend anymore. That's the point we've reached. Well, this is going to put you over the top if you're already disgusted and angry with these people. The top 3 officials in the LAFD are overweight lesbians named Kristen or Christina. The top 3. They make this woman we're looking at right now makes $400,000 a year. Assistant fire chief, big, large lesbian of color. So you got that going for you if your house is on fire, or if you're right on the edge of the zone, you're hoping the fire doesn't reach your house. At least know that a big, large lesbian's in charge, and she makes no apologies. She thinks it's important that if the fire department shows up at your door, that someone there looks like you. That's what's a priority for the LAFD, making sure firefighters look like you. This is almost like a meme. This is a joke. That's the last thing that should matter. That is, even if you believe that, why would you say it out loud? That it's like the surgeon or the airline pilot. You don't board a plane saying, gee, I hope the pilot looks like me. If you're going under the knife, do you want the surgeon to look like you? Or do you want to make sure you have the best surgeon available? This is absolute, utter insanity. This is the assistant chief explaining the value, the importance of having a diverse fire department. Listen to this madness.
You want to see somebody that responds to your house, your emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you. It gives that person a little bit more ease, knowing that somebody might understand their situation better. Is she strong enough to do this? Or you couldn't carry my husband out of a fire, which my response is, he got himself in the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire.
Yes, you heard that correctly. That is the assistant chief saying, if she can't carry you out of a fire, it's your fault. It's your fault. You put yourself in that position. If she can't do her job and save you from the flames, you did it. That's your fault. And again, they show a small African-American woman responding to a fire. And she says, it's important that someone who responds to the fire looks like you. This is what we're talking about now. We're talking about a fire department that didn't prioritize merit or ability, that didn't want any more white guys, that fired more than 100 white guys because they refused to get the experimental vax. Got rid of them. And by the way, they got rid of seasonal firefighters too. They cut them from the budget. And today, all the fire chiefs, all the public officials are saying, we don't have enough. We don't have enough people to fight fires in Los Angeles. And this is the result. 180,000 people out of their homes, over $100 billion in damages. And you, the American taxpayer, have to pick up the tab for their incompetence. And I think more and more people, when they hear this, when they see this, they're going to say what Adam Carolla said. They voted for it. Why are we picking up the tab? And by the way, I don't remember Joe Biden coming out 3 days after Western North Carolina got destroyed by a hurricane and saying, it's all on up. We're picking up 100% of the tab, all the rebuilding, all the we're going to pick up the tab and pay for everything. But what happened in Los Angeles is lots of Democrats got displaced, lots of hardcore Biden supporters. So he says, we're in. And Joe Biden loves nothing more than spending your money and taking a victory lap and gloating and saying, I'm going to take care of everything. This is scandalous. This is wrong. This is crazy. I cannot believe what we're watching right now. And hopefully Adam Carolla is right. He's predicting that people will wake up and they will no longer support these radical Democrats with their messed up priorities. Hopefully he is right. We will see. All right, we got much more to get to on this Friday. 10 days left of our national nightmare. 10 days left of that pathetic corpse of a president. Right now, Donald Trump is being sentenced in a New York courtroom. We got good news and bad. The Democrats got what they wanted. They get to call him a convicted felon, but they must call him president convicted felon. That is the key. We have a president who's being sentenced right now in a New York courtroom. He's remote, being sentenced on this completely made up, ridiculous case. He's not going to jail. They don't get that. He's not getting fined. He's not going to get, but they are going to have what they wanted all along, the chance to say, he's a convicted felon. And if you say that, just know you don't really mean it. You know this whole thing's made up. You know this whole thing is ridiculous. But we'll get the latest on that. And one of the most, historic, unique, amazing scenes yesterday at the Jimmy Carter funeral. It was, just fascinating. You don't get to see this very often. A whole bunch of presidents. And man, was it icy and uncomfortable. We'll get to that and more, but first.
Excuse me.
All right, small business owners, listen up. If you're tired of losing money to credit card processing fees, we've got something you need to hear. With 24/7 payments, you can eliminate up to 99% of those fees thanks to their fee elimination program. Here's how it works. You pass the processing fees on to customers who pay with credit cards, and in return, you can offer them a discount for paying with cash or debit. It's a simple, effective, and fully compliant way to save thousands every month. Right now, 24/7 Payments is switching over 250 businesses every month to this program, and they can have you set up in less than 24 hours. Call 855-504-0799 today or visit them on the web at 247payments.com. That's the numbers 247payments.com. All right, here's the latest. Oh, before we move on from the man-made disaster in Los Angeles, I just have to say this because I've not watched a lot of coverage, and it is just, it's incredible how many people just climate change. I mean, just stop that, okay? Stop. It's not climate change, but we've done that before. Here's the other thing that's every cable news anchor, every analyst feels compelled to say, it's not just rich people. There's a lot of rich people, a lot of famous people, but it's not just rich people. It's working class people too, and middle class people. What does it matter? I mean, honestly, who cares? Why does that matter? So what if it were all rich people? It's still an indictment on the public officials, on the governor and the mayor and the fire chief. It's about them. It's not about the economic status of the victims. Who cares? I'm sure this is so widespread. Of course, it's rich people, it's poor people, it's middle class people. But so what? What if it were just famous, rich actresses and actors and moguls? So what? What does that matter? They all feel like they have to say it. Oh, I know that neighborhood. There's not just rich people. So what? I don't know why that matters. But anyway, let's get to the sentencing. God, it is, I don't know. I guess it's finally over. Trump's going to appeal, and he's going to win the appeal, and that'll be a good day. But it's just amazing that we are sitting here watching this lawfare play out, the final dying gasps of a lawfare campaign. Here it is, breaking news from Newsmax. Donald Trump's been sentenced to an unconditional discharge. He avoids fines, jail, and probation. It means he will not be imprisoned, but his conviction still stands. He will enter office. This is from CNN, of course. He will enter office as a convicted felon. Prosecutors had recommended the sentence, saying in court Friday, quote, he must be respectful of the office of the presidency and Trump's impending inauguration. So the judge, Judge Merchan, who's the most conflicted, corrupt judge we've ever seen, his daughter has made millions off this case. He donated money to Joe Biden, a sitting judge who is sentencing Donald Trump is a Biden supporter and a Biden donator. How is that not Biden donor? How is that not a conflict? And obviously he has grounds for appeal, and obviously he will appeal, but they got it done. That was the goal. Get it done before the inauguration. So every anchor on CNN and MSNBC and ABC and will be able to say convicted felon Donald Trump. And they all know, every one of them, even the dumbest Democrat knows this is nonsense. They know that the statute of limitations ran out on a misdemeanor. So Alvin Bragg and this Matt Colangelo guy came up with this novel theory, this creative way to make these misdemeanors into a felony. And they knew a New York jury and a New York judge would do as they were instructed, and they convicted him. And now the sitting president can't own a gun. He can't own a gun. I don't think he can vote either. So the sitting president, until he wins on appeal, cannot, you know what? I'm okay with this because it's so obvious and so blatant, so transparent. We know this isn't real. We know there's no felony. We know there's no crime. We know it is lawfare. And I feel like it gives him an opening here to return fire, to say, this is the way you want to do it. Let's go. Let's charge Liz Cheney. Let's charge Anthony Fauci. If Biden doesn't issue those criminals preemptive pardons, let's go. I'm all for retribution. I don't know why that's a dirty word, retribution. These people deserve retribution. That is called for at this point. And I don't know a lot of Trump supporters who are against some good old retribution. Let's do it. Let's bring it on. All right, let's get to this scene. We're still watching, still following. We'll see if Trump reacts. I'm sure he will. He always does. I think this means the gag order is over. It is still remarkable that the president right now, the president-elect, guy who takes office in 10 days, spent his summer in a New York courtroom, compelled to be there, not on the campaign trail, not where he was in a courtroom for this phony case. They succeeded in keeping him off the campaign trail and gagging him. The nominee, the leading candidate for president, the former president, was gagged, was not allowed to talk about the lawfare case against him. And the gag order, I believe, was still in place. I'm not sure. We'll check, see if it's over right now. He can now speak, and he will. And he will lash out because, once again, Trump 2.0 has no shackles, no limits, no restrictions. He can say what he wants and do what he wants. There's nothing they can do about it now. It's over. This is it. This is the end. And Trump is free to return to the White House and speak his mind and say whatever the hell he wants. All right, let me do this before we get to the Jimmy Carter funeral, which was just fascinating TV, in my opinion. We talked about this for the last couple of days. The Laken Riley Act, I believe it's the first bill to pass the new House. It passed the Senate. There was some question. Laken Riley Act is a simple bill. It requires illegal aliens who commit crimes to be deported. So obviously, everybody's for that, right? Any decent American, any good person is for that. Deport illegal aliens like Jose Ibarra, who murdered Laken Riley after he came into the country illegally, after he committed crimes in New York, after he committed theft in Georgia, still in the country, still free to murder Laken Riley, a Georgia college student, nursing student who was out for a jog. He beat her, he tortured her, he murdered her. We don't want that to happen again. We don't want these people in the country. Obviously, if you care about the country, you don't want people like that. You want to kick them out, right? Well, you do, unless you're a Democrat. As we talked about yesterday, 159 Democrat Congress people voted against removing these people, these menaces from your community. They want to protect illegal alien criminals. And there was some question, what would happen in the Senate? Well, John Fetterman, a profile in courage, John Fetterman, by the way, who's on his way to Mar-a-Lago to meet with Donald Trump. Yes, Senator John Fetterman will be the first Democrat to head to Mar-a-Lago to meet with Trump. And when he was asked about it, what was he expecting? He said he's hoping to be named Pope of Greenland. God, you just can't hate John Fetterman. Well, he came out and said, I'm voting for this. And there was obviously 53 Republicans, and you're saying they need 7 Democrats. Well, they got a lot more than 7 Democrats. This was a good thing. This was really encouraging. 84-9. 84 senators voted for the Laken Riley Act, 9 against. Of course, where I'm sitting, both of my senators, just the worst public officials the worst people in the country, Liz Warren, Ed Markey, voted against it. They want illegal alien criminals, murderers, rapists. They want them in your community. And 7 other Democrats voted against it, of course, but it passed overwhelmingly. They were hoping to get to 60 votes. They got 84 votes. That is a good thing. That is a great thing. And now we get to watch Liz Warren do her best to derail Trump's nominations. She is such a despicable, just a loathsome human being. She's on a little media tour to try to stop Pete Hegseth. She actually went on, CNN or MSNBC and said Pete Hegseth has been credibly accused of rape. It's just a flat out lie. He was not. They investigated. California officials investigated and said, no, there's no case. It's not credible. But she doesn't care. She's just going to lie and be out there screaming. And I want to remind Liz Warren, she doesn't matter. He doesn't need your vote. He's not going to get your vote. I can't wait for him because he's going to do a great job at these hearings. He's smart. He's articulate. He's a fighter. He's going to go at her toe to toe. And I think he'll do okay. And right now, it looks like all of Trump's nominees, I think Polymarket has Pete Hegseth at 84%. That's pretty good for a guy who was at, what was he at a month ago? Ironhead, he was like in the teens or 20.
12%.
He was at 12% a month and a half ago. He's now at 84%. That is a great thing. I hope every one of these nominees gets confirmed, and it is looking good. You know who's not looking good? Big surprise.
Hegseth has a better chance of Tulsi at this point.
Does he? Yeah, they're coming hard at Tulsi. She's a threat to them. I love how they're going to call someone who's serving in the military right now, lieutenant colonel in the Army, who has a security clearance already. They're going to say, we can't trust her. She's a Putin puppet. I don't think it's going to work. And I'll tell you why. These are fighters. These are smart, articulate people who, in the case of Tulsi and RFK Jr., they're former Democrats. The reason, as I always say, the best conservative voices are former Democrats. And the reason is they don't just go lockstep along with their party, mindlessly go along the way Democrats do. They left the party for reasons, and they can articulate those reasons. They can make the intellectual case for what Democrats have done wrong and why they chose to go another direction. So they've put a lot of thought into it. They've talked about it a lot. So when they go before the Senate, I'm I have great confidence that they will be able to articulate. I mean, these are really smart people. RFK, you can dislike him. He's brilliant. Doesn't have a great voice, but I'm not going to hold that against him. He is going to do well because he's been through this. He's debated people. He's been on the campaign trail. He's given speeches. He's written books. He's going to do well in his hearings, and I can't wait. And most of the Democrats who are going to be grilling him are morons or liars like Liz Warren. So I think they're going to lose. They're going to go all in on stopping Tulsi, Hegseth, and RFK. And I think those three are ready for the battle. And I look forward to it because I really think they're going to come out of this okay. All right. I want to get to this Jimmy Carter funeral because it was historic. You don't see this. I mean, when have we ever seen this? All these former presidents, 4 two-term presidents, and one-term president, the loser in the White House right now. And talk about the least surprising development of the day of this event. Joe Biden in the front row at the funeral for his mentor fell asleep. He took a nap. That was not surprising, but there was just so much tension. It's amazing how these things, these political battles have unfolded. There's more tension between Democrats than there is between Democrats and Republicans. I mean, George W. Bush, he's with the Democrats. He hates Trump. They all hate Trump. But Trump, and there's a couple, I made my list of notable observations. Can you throw up the photo of this group in the two front rows at the funeral at the National Cathedral? First of all, you have Barack Obama solo because Michelle Obama had a scheduling conflict. There is, look at the Jill Biden sitting next to Kamala. They hate each other. There's Joe Biden taking a nap. There's Bill checking out the babes in the chorus or the choir. Hillary, George W., Laura Bush, Obama, and Trump. So Obama and Trump are chatting like old friends. Obama's laughing at whatever Trump is saying. Look at Obama laughing and chatting with Hitler. Behind him, Mike Pence and Karen Pence. Karen Pence, who wouldn't shake Trump's hand, who wouldn't even look at him, wouldn't stand up, wouldn't look at him. Mike Pence did, Karen Pence didn't. But it is, and Kamala gave a death stare at Obama for just chatting with Trump. Obama wouldn't have to sit next to Trump, except Michelle didn't show up. She didn't show up, and the rumors were flying. And I'll let you pick, Ironhead, or anybody on the chat line. There's 3 theories. One, she actually had a scheduling conflict. She's in Hawaii, and that Bikram yoga class, she couldn't miss that. She blows off this historic event to stay in Hawaii on vacation. So one, she just hates Trump so much, and she knew she was going to have to sit next to him, and she couldn't do it. 2, there's trouble in paradise. That rumor was flying online that Barack and Michelle aren't hitting off these days, and she didn't want to show up and sit with him. Those are your 3 theories. She actually had a scheduling conflict, didn't want to sit next to Trump, doesn't want to be with Barack right now. I'm going with the obvious. She just hates Trump. She wouldn't show up because she couldn't sit with Trump because she's a bitter, angry woman.
I think she hates Kamala.
She hates, well, you know what? They all hate each other. It is amazing that the Bidens hate the Harrises, the Clintons hate the Harrises. They all hate Trump. Pence hates Trump, there's just so much hate. And Trump is so good at this. He doesn't care. He can sit with people who hate his guts and make small talk. So I give him credit. There he is, just yucking it up. Obama's laughing, Biden's sleeping, and Big Mike is nowhere to be found. And Jill and Kamala were forced to sit next to each other, and they all, they all know Biden's just an empty, pathetic husk of a man. George Bush wouldn't say hi to Trump either. He's such a disappointment, Bush. He likes Obama and Clinton, but doesn't like Trump. What a loser. They're all such losers. But here was the real bizarre twist. So apparently on request of Jimmy Carter himself, I'm not sure when he made this request, like 6 years ago when he was still sentient, he wanted a song sung at his funeral. The song was performed by Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood, his wife. And it's Imagine by John Lennon. Imagine. Now, lots of people like this song. Some people hate it. I'm okay with it. It's great in the movie Killing Fields. It belongs in the movie Killing Field, but this is a church. This is the National Cathedral. There's crosses and I mean, it's a church. And they sing a song that says, Imagine there's no religion. What? What a strange choice. Here is Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood singing a song that celebrates a world with no countries, no wars, no religion, no heaven. Yes, go ahead.
So awkward.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no country. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. No religion too.
No religion. I'm sorry. I just listened to a week of commemorations and eulogies for Carter, and every one of them celebrated him for being a man of faith, who taught Sunday school, who lived a spiritual life, who went to church. And you're eulogizing him with a song that says no religion, no heaven, and you're sitting there celebrating the president of the United States saying, Imagine there's no countries? What the hell? Shouldn't somebody have overruled that? I mean, was Jimmy Carter in sound mind when he said he wanted that sung at his funeral? What a strange, strange choice. I guess it's good that you get a choice to play your favorite song at your funeral. Maybe that's the way Jimmy Carter thought. Maybe he didn't actually believe at all in heaven or believe in religion or countries. I mean, that's essentially a commie anthem. That's essentially a globalist, anarchist anthem. No countries. We're all one big happy family. Sure.
But it's also an extremely weird song to just sing in a church.
Very weird. In a church singing no religion. When I buried my father, we sat, and again, this is the Catholic Church, which has all kinds of ridiculous rules. But we're sitting there with the guy who planned it. It's a long story and a good story, but I won't get into all of it. And I had some songs. My sisters had some songs we had in mind. The guy hands me a list, like 5 songs. Pick 2. I go, what do you mean? He goes, we want to play Danny Boy. Danny Boy, his favorite song, Irish song, good song. Seemed very appropriate. They said, no. I go, why not? Because that's not on the list. What do you mean? That's it. You pick on the list. And they wouldn't let us play anything but the few songs that were on the list. It was very annoying. But we went to the gravesite with the priest, who was the a-hole. And my sister's friend shows up with her guitar and sings Danny Boy at the gravesite. It was a great moment, a wonderful moment. And my father would have loved it. But we got to get to this game last night. I loved this game. It was a great Orange Bowl. I'm enjoying the college football playoffs, but there was a moment, a great moment after the game. ESPN really wants to push the usual narrative. A black coach is in the college football championship the first time. It was the first time we had two black coaches in the semifinal, and they were really excited about that. And the coach just won't play along. I love this guy, my new favorite coach. Hell, he's done, somebody mentioned this last night. I think it was McElroy, the analyst, or Sean McDonough, said he's done the impossible. He has made Notre Dame likable. That is so true. This guy has made me root for Notre Dame, which is something I've never done all my life. I have never done. I am rooting for Notre Dame. We will play you this exchange with the ESPN sideline reporter and talk about the NFL too. We're going to tell you who Ironhead's betting on this weekend. I can't wait. He's going to let it roll. He's going to bet what, $7? What do you got going on this weekend, Ironhead?
Thinking about
going all in.
Think about $350 possibly.
$350 per game. That's a lot. There's 6 games.
It's going to bankrupt me.
It's a great weekend. I love this weekend. This is such a good football weekend. We'll get to that and more, but first.
Excuse me.
Are you looking to cut costs and improve your business's bottom line? The best business operators have turned to Ramp to help them stop wasteful spending and improve their finance operations. Ramp is the corporate card and spend management software designed to help you save time and put money back in your pocket. With Ramp, spend policies are built into the card so you can prevent wasteful spending before it happens. You can customize spending limits and restrictions so employees are empowered to purchase what your business needs and you have peace of mind. Ramp plays bad cops so you don't have to, detecting policy violations, chasing missing documentation, requesting repayment, and locking down cards of non-compliant employees. Ramp helps you manage all your finance operations in one place. Card expenses, reimbursements, vendor payments, accounting automation, and a whole lot more. So you can see all your business spending in one place. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/Gerry. Ramp.com/Gerry. That's RAMP.com/Gerry. Card issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. Get $250 when you join Ramp. Go to ramp.com/Gerry. Well, if you missed the last night, good game. Really good game in the Orange Bowl. The semifinal of the national the playoffs. Notre Dame won the final second, last second field goal, 27-24. Really good game, and good for Notre Dame. They're going to the finals. This is great for so many reasons. Brian Kelly, their former coach, he left Notre Dame 3 years ago, I believe, for LSU because he said he just couldn't compete with the Alabamas of the world at Notre Dame. Now he's at LSU. He's home watching his former team, coached by Marcus Freeman, go to the championship game against the winner of Ohio State, Texas. And I can't even believe I'm even saying this. I will root for Notre Dame. I don't think I've ever done that before. A lot of people do. I mean, I grew up, you rooted against Notre Dame. They were like, the Yankees or the Nazis. You rooted against them. It's Notre Dame. No more. I'm rooting for this guy. His quarterback, Riley Leonard, is terrific. Whenever they interview him, he looks like he's 12 years old. All he does is talk about thanking Jesus, thanking God. He just seems like a likable kid and a terrific quarterback. He came up big, clutch. But Freeman, after the game, and he always seems to say the right things. He seems so sincere, so likable. He's now the first African-American coach in the final, which means, and it's not for 10 days, it's not till the 20th, inauguration night, I believe. And ESPN and all the usual suspects will be talking and tweeting, making this a story. A black coach is in the final. Marcus Freeman's not playing along. And he does it in such a good-natured way. He just says, no, it's not about that. I don't care. I think he's like half Asian. Bleacher Report, as soon as the game ended, tweeted out, the first black Asian coach ever in the championship game. And you're saying, is that really the takeaway? After that game, after what you just saw, after what Notre Dame has accomplished since Brian Kelly left town, your takeaway is finally a black Asian coach in the championship game. Well, I think that's Molly McGrath on the sideline immediately after the Orange Bowl asking about the history that he will make in the national title game. Go ahead.
You, because you are the first black head coach to go to a national championship game in college football. Just hearing that response alone, how much does this mean to you?
You know, I've said this before. I don't ever want to take attention away from the team. It is an honor, and I hope all coaches, minorities, black, Asian, white, it doesn't matter, great people continue to get opportunities to lead young men like this. But this ain't about me, this is about us. And we're going to celebrate what we've done because it's something special.
This isn't about me, it's about us. And he doesn't play along, he doesn't buy into it. I mean, he is a great example, man. He really is. He just, everyone was thinking it's not going to work. Brian Kelly bailed on him. He inherited the job. It's a tough place to recruit. It's a tough schedule they always have. They're going against, to win it all, they're going against Alabamas and Georgias and Texas and Ohio State. And here he is at Notre Dame in the finals. And I don't know who's going to play yet, but I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for Notre Dame. Go Irish. I like this guy. And the players just adore him. And they play their asses off for him. And I can't believe the college football season extends to January 20th. I think Notre Dame is what are they now? 14-1?
Yeah, and they lost real early too.
They're going to play 16 games. And if Penn State had won, they would be playing their 17th game. A college team would have been playing their 17th game. These guys lost to Northern Illinois. And after that, that's some coaching, man. That's coaching a team up. You lose to Northern Illinois and you win 12 straight or 13 straight after that humiliation. Great job, Marcus Freeman. All right, quick before we go, Ironhead, I'm going to run through it. Let's see. Tomorrow, Chargers -3 at Houston.
I'm going with Houston.
I'm going with Houston too. Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Baltimore is a 9.5-point favorite.
Yeah, I'm going to go. If we're doing points, I'm definitely going Pittsburgh.
Without Zay Flowers, he's out. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh too. I'm getting nervous now picking Denver versus at Buffalo. Buffalo -8.
Buffalo by 3.
Oh, damn it. I already made my picks. Buffalo. I'm going with Buffalo. I'm going with Buffalo, Detroit in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you a minute to give me your pick. Green Bay at Philadelphia. Green Bay is a 4.5-point underdog.
Yeah, I have DraftKings has it at 5.5 actually.
Okay, whatever.
Regardless, Philadelphia.
All right, I'll go with Green Bay. How's that? We'll differ on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Washington Redskins at Tampa. Tampa is a 3-point favorite. I'm going with the Commanders.
I'm going with the Buccaneers.
Good. And finally, Monday night, playoff game on Monday night. I don't think there's any Manning cast, but Minnesota at Los Angeles. Minnesota is a road favorite, 2.5 points.
I'm going to go Minnesota.
Me too. I'm going Minnesota. They're good. They are well coached. There's your weekend slate. What's your Super Bowl pick? You got to make it now.
I'm going to go with the Vikings because that would just be awesome.
Ooh, that is a good one. I like it. They are. I mean, they were terrible against Detroit, but I look for them to bounce back. Vikings versus whom?
Kansas City.
You take Kansas City. Kansas City they're not the same team that won the last couple Super Bowls.
No, that's what they said last year, and then they won it. So who knows?
If they weren't home, you would never pick them. If they had to go on the road, no one would pick them. But they are playing at home. I don't know. I'm probably picking with my heart. I'd love to see Josh Allen get to a Super Bowl. I love watching him play. So I'm going to go with Buffalo and Detroit in the Super Bowl. We'll see. Not really a bold pick. And Corey picks Chiefs, Lions. Casey, that's real good. Pick the 2 top picks. That's bold. But, hey, they get a bye. That's big. That's big. You know what? It's good. There's only 2 buys. That's good. The only 2 teams out. So we're going to see some some good teams, some intense football. They moved the game out of LA, the Rams game, to Arizona because of the fires. I don't know if that matters, but interesting. I don't even think the stadium's in any danger, but I guess it just feels inappropriate. It's kind of like David Muir clipping his jacket so we will look svelte.
Yeah.
Just not appropriate, but looking forward to a good weekend of football. But we will leave it there for today and for this week. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, to follow on Spotify and Apple. We appreciate it. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show, and we'll do it again Monday morning.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, my God. Is she crazy?
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you so very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone.